Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Bryan. Bryan is from Chicago in the USA. So let's see what Bryan has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello Bryan, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well. Thanks so much for taking the time on your busy day for the interview.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime. It's a nice break from the day.
By the way, today is Valentine's Day, my God.
Right. I get to spend my Valentine's Day with you.
Hey, I was coming back home and I was like, my God, it's Valentine's Day. And I remember last year, actually, I was doing interviews as well. It was the weekend, so usually the weekends I have a few interviews, and I remember that I remember someone from Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, that's
oh
funny.
my God, the time just flies. My goodness.
It really does.
Bryan, just before we start the game, so just because it's Valentine's Day, tell me what was the best memory that you have from a Valentine's Day, a surprise or something that touched your heart?
I'm a big romantic, and I was dating this guy. He was studying in New York when I lived in New York, and we only had 2 more months together. I knew he was going back to Brazil, but we had been together for a year, and every moment was just so special because we knew we had limited time. And so I went up onto the rooftop of my apartment in New York, and nobody was up there, and it just happened to be a warm day. And I filled it with just heart-shaped balloons and flowers, and I cooked us a dinner on top of the roof in New York.
Oh my
But
Lord.
it was romantic, but it was also really sad because that was one of our biggest final moments together. So yeah.
So he was Brazilian.
He was Brazilian, yeah.
Which part of Brazil?
Porto Alegre.
Porto Alegre, the south. Amazing. I'm from Brazil as well, but
What part of Brazil are you from?
Northwest, Mato Grosso, the middle of Brazil. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Do you know that in Brazil celebrates Valentine's Day in June?
Yeah. It's super. So for him, he didn't care because it wasn't Valentine's Day. But for me, I'm like, well, it's Valentine's Day. I have to do something special.
Actually, saying that nowadays, I was checking social media, and actually nowadays, people in Brazil, they are more integrate about Valentine's Day on this month, because so I think people now slowly getting more, the vibe of the other countries, because I've been seeing so many people post online, some, what I mean? Oh my God, Brazil, it's what's happening?
Yeah. That's so funny.
Bryan, before we start the game, tell me where are you from?
From Chicago.
Tell me something interesting about Chicago.
It's really cold right now. It's really windy. That's all I got about Chicago. I love Chicago. The architecture is beautiful, but growing up here, it's very cold and gray and windy.
So you've been raised in Chicago. You were born there.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say about Chicago. One of the most amazing summers you'll have will be a summer in Chicago. Because everybody's so cold during the winter that when summer comes, they just want to go out and party and celebrate. So
amazing. And what do you do for a living?
I'm building a startup.
Tell me a little bit about it.
It's a wellness and health startup. So I'm looking to change the way that people find wellness support when they're struggling with their personal growth or their mental health or even their happiness. So I'm turning it into more of a social platform because a lot of people don't want to get into the space for financial reasons, stigma, fear, confidence, lack of knowledge. So I'm trying to create a space that's more social, more fun, more straightforward, and more accessible just financially. So that's what we're working on. And I just want to make it a platform that when somebody doesn't feel supported or is struggling, they could go there to find what they need to move towards happiness. So
amazing. Okay, so ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Awesome. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my lovely box. Full of random fun questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question, okay? Cool. Let's do it. Brian, so
Yes.
before we start the game, through the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about or you don't want to answer for some reason, we always can change, okay?
Perfect.
Very friendly. First question for you is, oh, look, talking about Valentine's Day. Look, the first question who can
Really?
change.
That's the one we get?
What is your funniest memory of a date that you had? Funniest.
A date or for Valentine's Day?
Date. A date.
Date?
Yeah.
Great question. Well, since it is Valentine's Day, I am going to go with a date on Valentine's Day. So
Okay.
again, this was also in New York, also with a gentleman that I dated. And we had just started dating. And maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, not much time at all. And Valentine's Day was coming up, and it was one of those quick up and quick down relationships. And he goes, I have to be in Mexico for work for Valentine's Day. Do you want to join me? And I'm like, I've only been dating you for 4 weeks. Like, why would I? Sure, I'll go to Mexico with you. We have a hotel to stay at. It was, which now is one of my favorite hotels. And he had the presidential suite. So there was no reason to say no. So that was our date for Valentine's Day. I just went down, I met him there. And having not dated long, we had to plan a date for Valentine's Day, but it was this weird in between of we've not known each other long, but it's Valentine's Day and we're in this romantic place. So I was like, I wasn't going to do anything. And then all of a sudden last minute, I was like, oh my God, I have to do something. So I ended up running around this little Mexican town looking for a gift to give him that wasn't too much, but wasn't, more to just acknowledge and honor what he did to bring me down and make this happen. So it was just a really weird date all around, and he didn't do as much as I did. So then I felt really insecure after I did everything, and he didn't mirror that because he was busy working. And needless to say, it didn't last long after that. But it was, a memorable Valentine's date. We'll put it at that. So.
He was Mexican.
No, he was from Switzerland. He was the Switzerland, but the French side. Swiss, but the French side. Yeah.
I see. And I can see that, so why New York? You lived there for a while, for work, or tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I was there for 5 years. I was in Austin for 9, and I actually won a travel competition. I never had plans to move to New York. And I went on this 6-month travel competition, came back, and realized that I was ready to take on more in the world. So I moved to New York. To me, that was like the biggest city I could have moved to. So I was like, I'm going to do it. I wanted a city that was, international. I wanted a city that had a large queer community. What else? The lucky part is that I was able to go visit some different cities, and I realized that I like the East Coast of America just because they're more direct, they're more forward, they're more honest. And so it just seemed like, why not? This is my once in a lifetime opportunity to live in New York. I'll do it. So I lived there for 5 years. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Yeah. Next question. Let's do it. Sure. Before the next question, Brian, tell me what was the big inspiration for you started out your business?
Biggest inspiration. I wouldn't call it inspiration by choice. It was inspiration by circumstances. I had a lot of people who experienced trauma in their life around me, whether that was my mother, who had some PTSD from giving a child up for adoption. I actually lost several friends to suicide, death by suicide. As a queer man, I mean, you identify as gay, so you obviously know it's unfortunately it happens within our community sometimes. And then coming out and connecting to my authentic self and just wanting to be the happiest version of myself. And the way that all interacted, something didn't feel right in my life. It also impacted my ability to have, some kind of relationships. So I started on my own personal growth journey, and that took about 10 years. And I just realized that the process was so long and drawn out and fragmented. And the breaking point was when I got out of real estate in New York and I wanted to move into something new. I got a therapist to work with, and I worked with him for 3 months. I paid this money, and at the end of it, all I got was a book. And I said, no, 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 no. This is not okay. I need to change this. So that was the inspiration, it was just circumstantial, and I wanted to be proactive in life and create change for other people. So that's what got me into it.
Right. You mentioned something that I wanted to mention during the interview about this. I had a little look in your profile, and I clicked on one of your pictures with your family. And when I scrolled the picture, I could see that was article about your experience, about your sister that your mom gave. So I didn't read a lot because I'd like to ask you what was the situation about it? What happened?
Yeah. So my mother and father just met at a very young age, and circumstantial. It was actually the day that Martin Luther King was assassinated. They spent the night together. Shalala, shalala. Mom got pregnant, and they had to make a decision. And my mom wanted to keep the child, but then realized that she couldn't give my sister the life that she wanted, and she decided that finding a family to adopt her would be the best for her and her child. My parents weren't sure if they were going to get married, so she was 21 years old. I was 8 years old when I met my sister, and my parents told me, you have a full-blooded sister. My mom and dad ended up getting married. To me, I was 8 years old. I was like, yay, another sister. But to her, she was 21, so it kind of disrupted her life. So that article was from her point of view and from my mother's point of view about that journey of, blending back together as not a family because she has her adoptive family, but how we created something new as grown-ups and a family. So
I'm just going to share something personal with you right now, but I'm not going to go too much in details because it's a long story. And I've been exactly the same situation as you.
Yeah.
The only difference as my mom, it was my father, my dad, but she was younger than your mom. My mom was 18 at the time. Yeah. And it was someone that they met. They had, as you said, shalalala. And my mom I grew up knowing more or less, children, we are very smart. We pick up things, So I don't know. I don't know if I heard my mom talk to someone. I don't know, but I always knew something was on there. And actually just met a few years ago. And it was amazing. It's an amazing story as well. I think it's a long story short. It's exactly more or less the same as happened to you.
Yeah. And I was close to my mother during her journey of finding her child. And I know there's a lot of different outcomes of how this could play out. Some people find out that they lost their family. Some don't want to know each other. And then there's those that want to build and cultivate a relationship. So, I just like to acknowledge that because I think we're fortunate that we had this outcome. But I know also there's a lot of people that don't get that outcome. So,
absolutely. Thanks for sharing this. Thank you.
Thank you to you too.
Next question for you is, what would your ideal life look like?
That's funny that you asked. I'm working on that. So I'm actually moving to LA in a month. Like I said, I'm building this health and wellness brand. It's media technology. So I'm really excited after 40 years to be finally kind of in alignment with who I wanted to be in my life. I think I always knew who I wanted to be at the age of 8. But because there was no language, no technology, no teachers to tell me what to do, I kind of did what I thought society thought I should do. And then, like I said, when I got onto my personal journey, I was about 30 years old. And I realized, this isn't who I thought I would be. And it's up to me to correct it. So, I moved to New York, did what I did, got out of real estate, started this journey into health and wellness. So I feel like I'm finally starting to align. And my dream is, I've been nomadic 2 years, so I want to continue that. I love being able to live in different cities. And, for me personally, having furnished 2 homes and sold everything off, to me now, materialistic things have just become things we rent. So if I'm going to buy it and I'm going to sell it, then why don't I just rent it somewhere else? And I could try different homes in different cities. I always have my luggage. So I think I'm gonna do that another year and maybe I'll settle somewhere. But for me, my future would be I could spend some times in cities that I love with people I love, connecting just as you are with people around the world, having conversations that are important to help elevate the consciousness of humanity. So that's really what I'm working towards, is just building a platform that helps people, brings the human experience together, allows us to see, the commonalities that we all share. Even though we're very different, we have a lot in common.
Absolutely.
I want to be a father, so hopefully I find love in the coming years and can start a family. To me, that would be my dream life, just doing that and getting to spend time with my family and just continuing to grow as a person. So I think I haven't, ever since I left New York, then I became nomadic for 2 years. So I'll keep that going just a little bit longer.
I see. Next question. Let's do it. Hey, Bryan from Chicago. Next question is, who is the most influential person in your life?
Who is the most influential person? You like how I asked that question to buy myself more time while I think? It's cliche, but it is my mom and dad. Should I go the cliche traditional route, or should I go the celebrity,
I would go to the cliche because it was the first one that you mentioned. It came naturally.
Yeah. It's really hard to say between my mom and dad because they nurtured both different sides of me. But I would say my father, he's just such a patient, kind man that holds space for everyone that meets him. He's really committed his life to just supporting his family, his wife, his, the woman who took over his business. He just retired, and she came from Ireland with nothing, and he supported her in learning the business, and she now has a successful business and family. So he's just really patient. To all my gay friends that meet him that don't have relationships, he just hugs them, and both my parents do, and they're just they truly get what it means to be human and love and open-minded and accepting, and I'm just thankful for that. And so the way that I like to interact with people that I meet, I always look to him, how he treated everyone that I saw growing up. So,
and saying that, so I'm sure being a gay guy, you always had the support since early age regarding that.
Yeah, they had their transition period like everyone, that your parents have expectations for you. And I was in Texas when I came out to them. I sent a letter at home ahead of time, and I was like, I need to get this out. So I sent a letter home, and then I came home for Mother's Day, and then I was like, I'm gay. And so they're like, all right, we love you, obviously. And my mom gave the child up for adoption. So I was like, hey, remember how you had to tell your mom that you gave this child up for adoption? Well, yeah, I'm gay too. So we have this thing in common. So, they were cool. They had their transition time and quickly came around. Yeah, it was,
Anyway, I believe that's our parents. They know their child very well. Somehow they knew with that. You know what I mean? Sometimes they don't want to know, they don't want to talk about, they don't want to think about, but it's there. I think
I know.
You know what I mean? It's always there.
Yeah.
Next question. Next question for you is, what's the most romantic thing someone has ever done for you?
Done for me? Ooh. All right.
I'll tell you something now. Look, all the questions that are here. I just pick up them. I can't believe that all those questions are come to
Or about relationships. That's funny.
It's Valentine's Day around. I can see the...
Okay. So I love traveling. So if it's not obvious, a lot of my stories are around travel. I just value connecting with different cultures, different people. It's become a core value of my life. But my boyfriend and I at the time in New York went to our friend's wedding. They're from Bordeaux. And so they got married in France. So we went to Paris, and it was my birthday. It was also my birthday. So we had the wedding, then we came back to Paris. We stayed at my friend's apartment, and we didn't really have any plans. I didn't think. But my boyfriend at that time got us tickets to Moulin Rouge. The original, and so we were just having breakfast, and he ended up planning a whole evening for my birthday, where we went to Moulin Rouge and then had dinner and drinks, and it was just it was sweet. I don't usually expect that kind of stuff, so for that kind of thing, it was very special to me. So
Very good. Good one. Next question. Bryan, so that's when I was again checking your profile, and the name of your business is Unity. Unit.
it's actually Unite.
Unite.
I put the accent over it. Yeah, I wanted a global brand. The United States doesn't necessarily hold, it has a certain energy. It actually was during the election, and I just had to step back, and I said, I'm going to add the accent over because I wanted to have a little more global flair. So whether it's Unite, Unity, Unite,
I see. Okay. So my question is, when I was checking there's a podcast as well that's work on it.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about your podcast, the Unite podcast.
Oh, yeah. So it's called Deeper.
Yes, the Deeper. Yeah.
Yeah, Deeper. So for me, I mean, you've probably already known by this time that I tend to talk about the deeper topics in life. For me, having gone through what I've gone through over the past 10 years, I just like to know what people are up to, what's going on the inside, talk about really what's going on. And I've almost picked up an intuition to read people's energy a little bit. And so I tend to go into spots that are just a little deeper. So yeah, the podcast is deeper. Sometimes you have to go deep in life. And what we do is we take a 2 or 3 minute clip of information from a podcast, and then I'll invite people on and we'll go deeper around that topic. I think there's so much great information out there, and taking in content on a daily basis is so important because we're always solving the same problems. We're solving problems with the same set of knowledge that we have that sometimes got us into that problem. So just taking in new content, whether that's 3, 5, 10 minutes of content a day, starts to open up our mind and allows us to look at the world in a new way. So we'd take a 3 minute clip, listen to it, have, a conversation with 2 or 3 other people, and then we'd open it up for people to ask us questions and get support or guidance around something in their life. So that's not only building content for the future platform that I'm building, but it also is a format that allows us to connect with our community and have conversation as well. So.
And saying that, it say that people can become a member as well of the.
Yeah, so we're in the very early stages. We're focusing on a very niche community to start. So we'll have an evergreen platform, an evergreen community, which will allow people to evolve and grow in different areas of their life. But we're also starting with, being part of the queer community, the LGBTQIA. I knew I wanted to support the community that I know and has supported me. And the community that needs the most support right now is the transgender and non-binary community. They have a 94% suicide ideation rate, 40% attempt suicide. So it's a community that doesn't always get the most resources, doesn't always have the most support. So what we're going to be starting with is supporting the family of that community. That's one of the best ways that we could bring support to that community, is by supporting the people that love and do want to support them. So we're launching a new journey to build wellness content for that community right now. But we'll also have like an evergreen community we're building. So it's we're again at the very early stages, but we're starting this month to roll out new content. So
Great.
Yeah.
Next question for you is,
Yes.
What was your favorite part about school?
Talking and socializing. I got told to stop talking so many times in school. I hated school. I was not one to read. I wasn't one to sit at a desk. Anything that I could talk to people, and that was my favorite time. So, yeah, if we're being honest, that was it. I remember when I was in college, I wanted to drop out of school, and I actually called my dad and said, "Dad, I want to drop out." And he said, "Bryan, you have 2 options. D stands for diploma. So you could either get your diploma and get into the world and have your whatever, or you could drop out and you'll figure it out. And I'm happy to come down there and support you." And I said, you know what, I'll go for that D. But yeah, I ended up having much better grades. But it was that senior year that I was over college. But anything that had to do with connecting with people, meeting people, I was always super social throughout school. So it's what you're picked on or what you're called out for often becomes your strength later on in life, as I'm sure you're familiar with this.
Very sure, very sure.
Were you a social kid as well in school? I have a feeling you were.
I'll tell you something now. It just make me think about something. When my mom was going for those parents meeting, like in six months, or I never forget. She was come to me and said, "Okay, William, I talked to your teacher." I was always very anxious about, you know what I mean? They come, what she's gonna say, and she was coming. She was like, "William, your teacher said it's okay. You know what I mean? Your grades are fine. You are doing well, but you talk too much in the class."
Exactly. That's exactly. Did it make you upset or?
Yeah, no, 6 months after, the same thing. Oh, everything's fine, but you still carry on. They cannot cope anymore. They are getting... And I actually, I don't know, I was talking too much. I think I just want to be, you know what I mean, involved in, you know what I mean, in situations, talking to people, try to understand things. And
yeah, that's how we process. That's how we learn. And here you are, 500 episodes into this. So clearly you followed your passion.
There we go.
But what's funny is every time they told me that at the parent-teacher conference, just like yours did, every time until 7th grade, every time they told me I talked too much, I would just cry and cry and cry. Like I let them down. It was stupid.
So. I wasn't crying. I was just relieved that I thought it would be something more serious for me. Saying that, I started doing interviews in Portuguese as well now. I started doing interviews in Portuguese, and I'm inviting, again, the same way I started in English, like inviting people that I knew it, and I now start inviting people that I know, Brazilian, Portuguese. And I had an interview a few weeks ago with a good friend of mine. I haven't seen her for 20 years, and it's so funny because we were talking about that in the interview. Said I couldn't even look at her face. Like you know, we didn't say anything, but I couldn't look at her face. I was on the floor like laughing like crazy, and we were in the back, and my teacher was literally putting me here and her the other side because we couldn't be together.
Stop talking.
So I was talking to her the other day, and we looked through the interview. We started laughing like crazy. Remember the story because there was no reason. We just liked being, you know what I mean, talking and expressing ourselves. So yeah. But here we are talking without any guilt or any pressure, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what we do best.
Next one. Right, next question is, if you could be an animal, which one that would be and why?
Oh, either a dolphin? Let me go with the dolphin. They're social. They're one of the only animals that has recreational sex, and they travel together. They love to talk. They're just social animals. I was thinking maybe a bird, but they're not as social, so I'm gonna go with the dolphin. So
good one. Good.
Yeah. They're actually really intelligent animals.
They are actually, yeah. The last time I saw them, actually, I went to my birthday. I think 4 years ago, I went to Spain, and I went to one island, to another island, and it was literally my birthday, like on the day, and we went for the day, and literally from out of nowhere, I was like on the boat, and I could see those dolphins just following. I was like, oh my god! And the gentleman who was kind of guiding everything said, oh my god, I'm sure they came to see you because not very natural. They come during this time, and I felt so fortunate. I was like, oh my god! And they were like you know what I mean, around. I couldn't believe it was so beautiful.
I mean, to my knowledge, you know, they pick up on energy, they interact, they can communicate problems. Yeah, it's one of the more intelligent animals. I think they're mammals out there.
Cool. Next one. Let's do it. Next question for you is, good one. If you're not yourself, would you like to be yourself and why?
If I was not myself, would I want to be myself and why? You know what? I would be myself through my ups and downs. I'm still working through some of my own personal things. Obviously, we always all are as we evolve as human beings. Um, but the one thing that I like about myself is that I take a really proactive approach to life and chase and go after and create what I want. I wouldn't want to give that up. So I'm curious about life. I like to explore. I like to take the long route and discover and socialize and see which thing I want. And it drives my family and my relationships crazy sometimes that I take so long to process stuff. But I enjoy that part about me. The rest of the stuff I'll work through, with time. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's somebody else I would want to be, but there's nobody that comes to mind that I'm like, I want to be that. Because I know as humans, we all have problems. So without knowing the other person's problems, I couldn't tell you whether I'd want their problems or my problems. So.
Absolutely. Saying that, being a queer guy, if you could choose to be queer again the next life, would you choose that?
Absolutely, 100%. I think it's one of the biggest blessings that I've had, not only from being queer myself, but being a part of a community that's not tied to societal norms, to the structure of, we just get to create who we want to be. And I don't know if this will always be this way for future generations, but we were born, and there were other parts of history that this was allowed as well. But I feel in this moment or time, we have some of the most freedoms that we've ever had as a queer community. Obviously, we still have to fight not only for ourselves, but for the communities that don't. But being Bryan in the United States of America in a large city, it has been a beautiful experience with the people that I've met, with the creative friends that I have, with the open-minded friends that I have. And I wouldn't, my hope is that other people pick up on this in the world. And I have a feeling that you feel the same way, maybe. So.
I do. And saying that as well, Bryan, I think that, of course, I think being gay is just, as you said, it's a gift. I think we face a lot of challenges in life. Some of us are more fortunate that we have support. We can be ourselves 24 hours. We can just be ourselves. We're going to be accepted. Of course, some people don't. They don't live the same way. But saying that, I think being gay, even though we face challenges in life, but it's so nice to be, to be not different, like let's say, not different, but that we need to sometimes, express ourselves in a different way, or we cannot be ourselves 24 hours because of we might find some challenge or some people that not gonna accept. But even though it's nice to be like that, it's nice to face those challenges in life sometimes. That's what makes it a bit more spicy and more interesting in a way as well. Not always. Not always.
But I think I have come to learn that there's a section on the spectrum across queer and heterosexual communities that I've come to enjoy. And those are the people in the middle that identify as fluid, bisexual, queer, people that could be more in the middle and ebb and flow. If I was straight, I would just hope that was the same part of the community I got to be in. So as long as I'm in the middle and I could be fluid and allow my individuality to come through and evolve, then I'd be fine. It just so happens that we as queer people get that freedom to be a little bit more curious and explore. So, absolutely. Yeah.
3 questions left for you. Sure. Okay.
I'm looking for my quote for the end. I forgot we have a quote for the end.
Say again, sorry?
I'm pulling up my quote right now.
Okay. Next question for you, Bryan, is if you could go back in time in one moment or memory in your life, what that would be and why?
That would have been at the age of 13. No, you know what? 16, 17. And I would have told myself that my mother was doing the best that she could, and that she was traumatized through her experience in life, and that don't try to help solve her problems. She wants to just be and grow. And that would have saved me a lot of time and energy, understanding that when we argued, it wasn't her being angry at me, it was the trauma and PTSD that she went through. I think one of the biggest things in life is that we have expectations for our parents, for our friends, for our partners, and vice versa. Our parents have expectations for us, our other siblings. And those expectations that we build for other people to be causes us some of the most painful experiences or the most pain in life when they don't meet that. And so I would have gone back and said, Bryan, just love your mom. She's traumatized. She'll be okay. Just be there for her and just love her. And that's all she needs. But as a son, I wanted to help her solve her problems to get to a better place. And then that caused all the friction between us. So I only just figured this out when I shared with her. I said, this is what happens. You share a story. I try to support you. It triggers you. You yell at me. I get upset. I yell at you. And she goes, oh, that's funny. I never saw our relationship that way. And I was like, I just went through 20 years creating this story of who you were when you didn't even see the world the same way. And so that's just a reminder that we create our reality. You and I could be looking at the same thing and have completely different perspectives of it until we communicate through it. So the reminder would have been to myself to just let her be in her reality, be present in my reality, and just love each other. So.
In a way, today, now you have the knowledge and you know that. But of course, at the time, even for you, it wasn't easy to deal because you didn't have the information either. You were not prepared in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
2 questions left.
Okay.
Before the next question, as you saying about you had a Brazilian boyfriend, did you manage to learn some Portuguese?
Not from him, but I did learn gostoso at Carnival in Rio.
What means gostoso?
I still don't know. I don't know. You should tell me, William. What does gostoso mean?
I'm shy now. I'm hard myself.
I mean, really, I forgot. I have no clue. I just think it means like you're delicious or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, you look hot, you're kind of, delicious hot in a way.
So that's whenever I meet a Brazilian, I say, I know one word and that's gostoso.
Right, next question is, what do you like the most about your best friends?
My best friends, I just like that they're all open-minded, that we can, that we just let each other talk. We could pick up and leave off as if no time had passed. And that's how I know when I have a close, good friend is when it's been weeks, months, years, and we just connect back and we pick up right where we left. Whenever someone puts pressure on me to be and show up, like if I go to a city and I don't call them and I get yelled at because I was with my family, like that's just a sign it's not going to be a healthy friendship. But my friends, my true friends, just let me ebb and flow, do my thing, and that's what I love about them the most.
They're going to be very happy when they watch the interview. They're going to know that.
They already know that. I think anyone that knows I'm, I think they know that. So I hope they do. If they don't, I hope they do know that. So.
Ready for the last one?
Yep.
Let's do it. Bryan, before the last one, in your opinion, what's the biggest cause of mental health issues at the moment in the world or, around?
Yeah, I think it's making it more accessible and easier. I've identified through my research that roughly 1 in 4 adults struggle with mental health, happiness, or their well-being. So roughly 26% of any community is struggling. And roughly 45 to 82% of that community will never seek help. And so that's, FedEx just rang the doorbell. So that's one of the things that we need to do is make it more accessible for people, because they don't always want to go into the one-on-one space and they don't always want to pay a lot of money. So they exist, they try to solve the problem by themselves, and then they end up in crisis sometimes. So making it more accessible, a lot of people prefer self-help. So yeah, I think that a lot of people don't want to get into the space because they think they could solve the problem by themselves. And what that ends up is a lot of people internalize, a lot of people isolate, a lot of people get into crisis, and that just leads to an unhealthy situation for the individual. So I think creating a space where you can talk about mental health, where you could express how you feel, where you could connect with others that are in similar journeys, to me, that's the gap right now, is bringing it into the mainstream. Right now, if you think, oh, I'm gonna go to a therapist or a psychologist, you think something's wrong with me. I'm in crisis. And then you don't go into it. So I think that's what I'm hopefully working towards. That's what I am working towards, is making it more accessible for the mainstream and digestible. So that's where I think we're at right now. I hear a lot of stories from people that struggle about even finding a provider that either supports their insurance or they want to work with. And so I think there's a definite flaw in how people find support when it comes to their mental health. So.
And just saying something as well, Bryan, I believe that the male figure, they are a lot of men, they are afraid, or they feel ashamed of searching for help. You know what I mean? It's like a weakness for them. It's like a weakness sign, or they don't feel ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And men are the most susceptible to it because they're a man. They don't need to share their emotions.
Yeah.
And men have the power to harm and injure themselves, which is the reason that they account for the highest rate of suicide.
Yep.
So we need to normalize, and the world is going through this shift right now, that it's okay to be a man and to have feelings and to ask for help. And men view that as a weakness, and it's not. So, yeah.
Is the opposite. I think looking for help is a big sign of strength, of being strong. Looking for help is one of the big signs.
Because when you speak up, you're helping other people in your sphere that say, you know what, I'm going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for speaking up and letting me be seen. And we're seeing, there's some amazing movements amongst men in Austin and, Brooklyn and California, that they're opening these up to men's circles to get this support and allow them to release that inner energy that's been holding them back and their emotions. And to me, it's just absolutely beautiful. So I think there is a movement happening amongst men, and I hope to support it and cultivate it as well. But yeah, I think speaking up is where we really need to work as a society, as letting people know it's okay and how to find resources. Yeah. You might
feel vulnerable and weak when you are speaking out, but wait a minute, you are just digesting then, you're just learning, you know what I mean, and showing way of get stronger. Yeah. Right. Last question for you is, Bryan, if you won the lottery, what would be your first big splurge?
Ooh, first big splurge. I think we don't live unless we have purpose. I think purpose is really what draws us in. And I think a lot of people who win the lottery sometimes lose a sense of purpose. So my first big splurge, given that I'm about to start looking for investors, is I would fund my project and get it off the ground. So I had a purpose. I mean, I had something to wake up to every day. As you mentioned during COVID, waking up and not knowing, what's going on and being alone, creates a little anxiety or stress in your life. And I think purpose is what grounds us. Just as you tied yourself to this project, waking up and knowing you have a purpose every day to move forward is what keeps people going. So I would fund my project. I would just make sure I would spend a year getting it to a really good spot. And then I would probably support my friends and family, and then maybe take a vacation.
Right, Bryan, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words, just one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
Okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Money.
Money, with money comes obligations. Yeah.
Family.
Rock.
One word for love.
Energy.
Life.
Happiness.
One word for sex.
Connection.
Politics.
Unnecessary.
Religion.
Even more unnecessary.
One word for fear.
The launch pad.
Friendship.
Beauty.
Desire.
Passion.
Regret.
Sabotage.
Success.
Pain.
One word for wish.
One word for wish. Desire.
Happiness.
Love.
One word for Chicago.
Cold.
I knew it. One word for USA.
Opportunity.
And one word for your business. Let me see if I'm gonna say right. They united.
Unite.
They unite. One word for they unite.
Love.
Amazing. I'm going to meet your best friend now for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friends. Define Bryan in one positive word and one negative word only. What that would be?
Positive word is curious. And negative word would be curious. The same thing that gets me to where I want to go is the same thing that holds me back sometimes. So.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Bryan, let's play now. Bryan, the magic box, and you can ask me a question. You can ask me a question now.
All right. So I have my question ready. It's, as you know, my podcast is deeper. So I tend to go deep. And a matter of fact, I'm working on this as an exercise for myself. So I wanted to ask you. So it's 50 or 60 years from now, and you're a ghost at your own funeral. There are many of your peers present at your funeral. What do you hope they would say about you?
Right. I think it's they would say that right. You went through a lot of uncertainty in life, very deep uncertainty that you couldn't understand. I think you looked for so many ways to try to understand a few topics that still, I mean, not still because already gone anyway, but there are some things that you brought from your childhood, you're carrying up from your teenager, your adult life, and was always there. You tried so hard to try to understand what that was coming from, but you managed to get out of it. You managed somehow. Life brought you in a way that it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but it was, let's say, an interesting journey that made you understand more about yourself. It was a bit scary as well, very scary, because it was not just you. It's pressure about your way of expressing yourself through your life. It shows how you could connect with people and how difficult it was for you to give yourself, let's say, to let other people share with yourself their lives, or because you're blocked a lot of things were blocked there. But you managed somehow. It somehow it opened up somehow, and people managed to, your dearest one, your people that meant to be around you, they found a way to break this wall that was very hard, very difficult. And and I think you did well. They're gonna put my show. Tell you
Good. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
it's okay. I think all of us, we go through, as you've mentioned before, a lot of things in life. We go through a lot, and sometimes you don't understand the message. Sometimes you just need to not, no, don't forget it. You know what I mean? Don't carry all the time, but don't forget about it as well. Try to, you know what I mean? Figure it out.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Always be in the present. So.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Before you go, Bryan, just tell me a positive message, a positive quote, something that inspires your life.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is, "Nobody is you, and that is your power." I think that we try to fit in this world sometimes too much, and that we all have something that's so unique to us, whether that's our purpose, our way of loving, our way of sharing, our way of shining, our passion, our strength. And it's as unique as our DNA on our finger. And when you put it all together, it creates a beautiful gift that you could give to the world. And I think for a lot of people that experience things in life, we lose touch, negative things in life, we lose touch of who we are. And that's just the thing that I want to put out there. And that it's one of my favorite quotes is that nobody is you, and that is your power.
We have just one tool in life, just be ourselves. I think that's the main one. Just use it the most you can.
And the more we could step up and share what is uniquely us, the more we'll receive back from people. So I hope.
Bryan, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Thanks so much for bringing your knowledge, for bringing your wisdom, and to bring your beauty as well to the show. Thanks so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for being open and listening and reaching out to me. So
keep in touch, okay?
Right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.